Oh, we are at Wings Etc. in Jackson today. So if you are in the neighborhood or have not made plans for lunch, we invite you to join us. They have their wonderful award-winning jumbo wings for both dine-in and carry-out. And, of course, they have a brand-new burger menu. You really need to check that out. In addition to the burgers, they have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salad, smoked ribs, and much, much more. Their appetizer lineup, by the way, features their ultimate nachos and their deep fried pickle chips. And their daily lunch specials start at just $9.49. And the newest addition is DoorDash. If you'd like to have Wings Etc. delivered to your front door, you can do it through the DoorDash app. It'll just take you a minute. Download the DoorDash app for free. Set up your account, and you can order delicious Wings Etc. food delivered right where you are. It is the home of the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Wings Etc. Good food and great times. We're going to be talking Red Hawks football with the head coach, Tom Matukowicz, Ryan Flournoy, who had a masterful game against SIU on Saturday and got some national television exposure. I don't know if you saw the national television exposure for Ryan Flournoy. If you ever watched the ESPN NFL pregame show, You Got Mossed is a segment there. And that terrific 41-yard grab that Flournoy made over two Iowa State defenders gave him some national recognition. They played that clip on ESPN on Saturday. Let's welcome in Coach Tom Matukowicz. Wow. Anything big happened for you over the weekend?
You know, I wish I was more mature than this, but, man, just life seems better after a win. I mean, the grass was greener. Hell, I woke up, Lena looked better. Shit, I was like, damn, baby, you look good this morning. So just, again, just so happy for our team and our coaches, of course. But also it's bigger than that. I love that we had a great crowd, and they seemed to be into it. And so, you know, for our region and everybody, it was just a really good win for a lot of reasons. And it was a team win. You know, I think offense and Ryan and those guys will get a lot of the credit. But when you talk about special teams and knocking down a couple big field goals, defensively holding them to 10 in the first half and things like that, you know, it was a true team win, which is what we need to be able to do. We need to play good in all three phases.
Well, you played good in all three phases on Saturday night. What I thought was really interesting in this football game, nobody took control of the game. And you can watch college football for a little while, and if it's a regulation game, and I'm not talking overtimes, just a regulation game, you don't see a lot of games where there are 9 lead changes in the game, unless maybe you've got a 62-54 game. But there were 9 lead changes in that game, and it went right down literally to the final 11 seconds. I mean, if you like college football, that's got to be one of the games of the year.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely up in my top 5 that I've ever coached in. And that was another thing that after the game, I on the way home thought a lot about, was just how our team responded. Because, like you said, it was this a little bit, but our sideline was never that. You know, they go in on what could have been a game-winning drive in the fourth, right? And they punch it in. But our sideline never felt like they punched it in. Like, our sideline just felt like, all right, offense, this is what you wanted to do. You get to win it for us, you know, type mentality. So I hope that means we have a high character and we're a mature competitor where we're competing not based on our circumstances but based on who we are as individuals. And so just truly exciting football game.
You know, when they got down there inside the 5-yard line, there was just over 3 minutes remaining in the game, and they ran a couple of plays. You did not let them in. And then the clock's under 3 minutes, and I'm thinking, man, you know, they could run a lot of time off here and punch it in and not give you much time left on the clock. And then Justin Strong went in, and there were 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You had 2 timeouts. And what we're talking about on the broadcast is there is plenty of time for the Red Hawks to march it down and put it in the end zone.
Yeah, for sure. No, that was a great situation. It's something that Ryan could tell you, or anybody that's a part of the team. Like, we really pride ourselves in winning the fourth quarter. You know, we lost the fourth quarter against Iowa State, and so that was a huge focus this week. And, you know, we won at 17-14 in the fourth. And so just that, from our conditioning to strength, all those type of things as a program came together because I did feel like they got tired on that drive. SIU defense did.
And one thing you got to understand, they've got 22 guys on that team, SIU, who are fifth and sixth year seniors. That's unheard of to have that many veterans. That is an experienced football team.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason they're nationally ranked for sure.
And as far as Nick Hill goes, he is a guy who was quoted this past week in their local paper as saying, there isn't anyone in college football I have more respect for than Coach Tom Matukowicz. Obviously, you coached when he was the quarterback for 3 years at SIU. You were there for 7, but he was a quarterback 3 years. Went to the playoffs all 3 years he was a quarterback. He's one of the great quarterbacks in SIU history. That's a pretty big statement for Nick Hill to say he respects you as much as he does anybody in college football.
Yeah, he must have knew I was listening or something. He's trying to butter me up. But it's mutual, and ultimately the things we value, or I value, he values, and vice versa. We're very similar in some of our core makeups. And so I think that's why there's that shared respect. And then even outside of work, some of the hobby stuff we enjoy the same,
Your quarterback was named OVC Offensive Player of the Week, Paxton DeLaurent. What a game he had, Coach. 33 of 44 for the game. He was 16 for 19 in the first half. 33 of 44, 332 through the air, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. In fact, there were no turnovers in the game for either side.
Yeah, I think the turnover thing was surprising. Normally there has been some in the past in this game. But again, he did a nice job. And, just like all of them, there's some plays that we got to get better at. We are literally one play away from this being a different broadcast. You and everybody else that has a newspaper are going to talk about how good we are.
Rat poison.
And we made one more play than them. And so the concern you have is just, all right, if we don't play better, then we get into a game where it is a one-play game, and then now we lose that game. So we got to play better to where it's not a one-score game or not down to the wire in several areas. And as good as Paxton played, there's several things in there that, we need him to improve on, just like Ryan and just like me as the head coach.
Boy, the numbers for your receiving core were off the charts for Johnny King and Ryan Flournoy. 14 receptions for Johnny King, including 2 touchdowns, 10 catches for Flournoy. Would have had more had they not just reached out and grabbed him as many times as they did. 145 yards and a touchdown. Man, those 2 guys were elite in that football game. Elite.
Yes, no doubt. And the one thing that I enjoyed seeing was a lot of run after catch. If we're just planning on bombs, well, that doesn't work all the time, right? So they have the ability to also catch it, then get yards, and both of them had some nice runs after catches. We had some nice blocking and those type of things, and that could be a weapon. Because if they play off, those bombs are hard to get, and so you got to be able to manufacture those explosive plays even in the short passing game.
Ryan Flournoy, who will join us a little bit later, he is here, 74 yards after contact in the football game.
Really? Hell, I didn't know that. Where's that stat?
It's on the stat sheet. Yards after contact, 74 for Flournoy, 29 for Johnny King.
They must have 20 people up there figuring that out. I mean, how do you do that during a game? Well, that's great.
I mean, that just shows you. I mean,
yeah,
this
that's
is
what
a
I'm talking
big,
about.
strong
Right.
guy, and if you try to arm tackle him, goodbye.
Yeah, he's how you want him to look because he looks like he walks on his hands. Hell, I think his biceps are bigger than his calves. Like he's a yoked up dude, and so you break all those arm tackles from DBs,
DeMaurier Vic in the first game, he caught your touchdown pass, had a nice game against Iowa State. What I thought was interesting, he had 1 catch all night until the money was on the table. 11 seconds left, and he breaks free in the end zone, and DeLorean hits him for the game-winning touchdown.
I am too, because he's as good a play. He's better than the other guys when he doesn't have the ball. You know, everybody wants to talk about when guys have the ball, but really Vic has done a tremendous job blocking. You know, because a lot of our RPO counts on him doing that. We were in a 2nd 2, 2nd 3 a lot because of some tempo and throwing it out to some of our good players. And Vic is selfless and really did a nice job blocking.
You run those bubble screens, and a wide receiver can catch the ball. That doesn't mean he's going to get yards after contact unless his teammate is out there laying a block, and Vic was doing that all night long, especially when Johnny King, because he runs a lot of those screens.
Yep, for sure. Both of them did a nice job, and that's a critical aspect of what we do.
You know, we're talking about the wide receivers. Geno Hess had a big run late to move the chains. Geno Hess has yet to really have an impact-type game, which we know he can. He's got so many 100-yard rushing games, but still, Geno has 65 yards on the ground. His longest run was 11 yards. It is really obvious Iowa State, SIU, they key on Geno Hess. I think defenses are going to start to see when they break down film, you start keying on Geno Hess, he's not the only weapon the Red Hawks have.
Yeah. You know, that was probably the biggest thing I was disappointed with is actually SIU played a light box, and we weren't able to run it. And so that film's out there, and if we don't improve on that, that's eventually going to catch up with us. And so they did a nice job, and we gotta do a better job in our run game. But like you said, we got some. You know, you need to be able to run it when you need to be able to run it. There was some short yardage in there that Geno and the O-line did a great job on. Was able to move the chains and keep drives alive. But again, there was too many. We had a couple in the red zone. Like, we were good in the red zone because we threw it, and you can't count on that every week. And so we got to make sure we shore up our run game there a little bit.
So the final drive, there are 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock when you get the football. 2 timeouts. You go 12 plays, 76 yards. 234 is what it took for the drive. Everyone after the game's talking about the calls by the officials. There were 2 fourth-down pass interference calls late. They both involved Ryan Flournoy. The first one, it looked like it was I couldn't tell if it was thrown. I think Vic may have been the up receiver, and Flournoy was down near the goal line, and it was a little underthrown to Flournoy. I'm not so sure that the pass interference call didn't come on the up receiver rather than Ryan. What did you see on the game film? Because they clearly grabbed him, whoever the receiver up front was.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger lesson, and I want my team to know, and it's just like basketball. You know, when you go and you play a game, well, officials call things different. We don't. I coach my team based on the Ohio Valley officials, which was not Saturday. They used the Missouri Valley. So the only thing I want is consistency. So if a foul's a foul in the first quarter, it needs to be a foul in the fourth quarter, because then I can adjust my team. There was 5 pass interference. We had 2, they had 3, and they were all similar. They weren't egregious, obviously. They weren't like no-brainers, but we had a pick that I think's not a foul, but in that game it was a foul based on how they're calling. It's our job to adjust as coaches, our job to adjust our players' play based on how they're calling the game, just like you would in basketball. But the problem is, as coaches, we just want to blame officials, and then what happens? It keeps happening because we aren't adjusting. We got to adapt and adjust. That's just like anything in a game, and they were obviously, not going to let you grab an official whatsoever, and so we just got to adjust. But I'm certainly I think it adds to the game and just how crazy it was. And, I'm sure the officials don't want it to come down to that too. I mean, I'm sure they wish they didn't have to, but their job's to, see the game and throw what's played,
And I know it's supposed to work this way. It doesn't mean it always works this way. But sometimes in basketball, a foul with 10 minutes to play in the first half may not be a foul with 10 seconds left in a 1-point game late. a foul's a foul no matter what the clock says. And that was the case in this particular instance.
And that's what I'd rather have, just consistency, like just so we know how to adjust to what's getting called.
And the final, before we talk about the final play, in the first half, Jodrick Lewis had an interception on the near sideline from where we were. It was on SIU's sideline. Got an interception. You stop their drive. Then all of a sudden, here comes a flag. They give the ball back to SIU. They call Lewis for pass interference. They took that ball and put it in the end zone. That was the only touchdown they had in the first half. So, I know the SIU fans were saying, whoa, the pass interference late. Well, guess what? SEMO got called for one as well, and it led to you getting a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't care what they say. Okay, they can look right there at
the wheel is here. He's pointing at the wheel, by the way.
Speaking of, if I were you guys, I wouldn't come up and touch it. I let the players have it Saturday night.
Yeah, you may want to. Yeah, you may want to avoid.
Who knows the filth that wheel went through and what went on? But they'll tell you how much I trust this team. They asked me for my truck. I was like, oh hell no. But I let them take the trophy, and I just think it's so important that you do enjoy those moments, and you stop and you smell the roses, and why would you not? And so I know they're pretty excited about it, and then we get to hang a couple bricks up tomorrow.
And what I thought was interesting was at the end of the game, Rick and I were kind of keeping an eye on the wheel as we're talking about, hey, the thrilling finish. And here's Brady Barkey sprinting to the wheel, grabs the wheel, and brings it over to the Red Hawk sideline. The Red Hawk AD went over and got the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, you need a good plan because emotions heated and all that stuff. So I'm glad he did that. And the easy part is celebrating. All the other stuff's kind of hard.
And I know Nick Hill was not happy. He chased officials off the field at the end of a game. That kind of shows you how emotional these types of games get.
Yeah. What would you say, that 2018 was very similar. It was a fourth quarter, 2-minute drive. We go and score and end in a Hail Mary. It's a very similar game. But this one just seemed more intense. I don't know how you felt, but it was definitely
totally
our
agree.
Best SIU game for sure.
And 2 years ago when you went over there, they beat you on a last-second field goal. I mean, these games are thrillers, man. Yeah. They go right down to the wire. And, oh, by the way, the Red Hawks have won the wheel 3 of the 5 years they've been playing for the wheel.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up is our seniors have a winning record versus SIU, first time in school history for seniors to have a winning record against SIU. So that's something they can hold on to.
And dating back to 2010, the year the Red Hawks won the OVC championship, that was the first year of that stadium. SEMO beat them, first team to beat them in that stadium in their first game against a Division I school. I think they played Kentucky State the first week. SEMO went over. But the Red Hawks are 3-4 against SIU in that stadium. I mean, you've had success over in Carbondale.
Well, it has nothing to do with the stadium. I know you guys are. It has everything to do with players and preparation.
So, your kicker, Coach, I felt bad on the way home that we didn't talk about D.C. Pippen on our post-game interview because, I mean, emotions were, here, boy, what about this play? And we're talking about different plays in the game. But you've got a kicker, D.C. Pippen, and you run him out there for the final play of the first half. Let's see if we can kick a 50-yarder right here. He kicks it low. It hooks to the left. No good from 50 yards. Go to the locker room. You've got the lead in the football game.
Yeah.
And then it's 14-10. Then in the second half, you run him back out there for another 50-yard field goal. What were your thoughts when you run him back out there? He had just missed a 50-yard field goal, and he buries it right down the middle from 50.
Same thing. I trust his emotions. He's talented. I wouldn't be kicking a 50-yarder if he didn't have the leg. But, sometimes kickers just can't handle the moment. You know, these are big kicks, and everybody wants to kick the 50-yarder, right? Everybody wants to drive the ball 300 yards. And what happened the first time was he just swung too hard. And but he owned it, come over, hey, coach, I'm good. And so had enough trust to try it again. Now, I almost called a fake right there.
Really?
Like, it was really close to that. It was the situation I wanted to, so it was up in the air, but we went with him, and he nailed it. And then the players were so happy, he was celebrating, he cramped his calf. It's like, damn, I got to coach you guys through everything. Damn, can't you just get healthy over here? So
then you sent
so
Adam
he's on the
Krause
sideline.
out to kick.
Yeah, he's on the sideline getting, stretched out. And I'm like, Jesus, our kicker's cramping. But then he came back out. Obviously he was fine, and he hit what was the other one, 45?
45.
45, yeah. So super happy for him. And I told you last week, like, we needed to make a game-changing play on special teams. We've been underperforming, and so that was good to see, even though I still feel like our special teams hadn't hit our stride yet.
We have to research it, but you've had kickers kick 50-yarders. Ryan McCrum has kicked some long ones over the years. You've had 50-yard field goals. I wonder if there has ever been a game where a Red Hawk kicker has kicked one from 45 and 52 over 45 in the same game. How much do you think it helped him on the second 50-yarder to have already tried and missed with the first 50? Okay, I know what I did wrong on this. Do you think it helped him?
Yeah, absolutely. Lessons are learned. They're not taught. Like, you have to go through that experience, make a mistake, self-correct, learn, start with just awareness of the situation with yourself. And he did all that. So that's why he was able to make the next one. But if it was, it was this or the wind was this, then I'd be like, well, that's your last 50. I'll never kick another one, because that's not how you execute. And so I think he's confident, and he's kicking off well, even though Saturday we had trouble with our kickoffs. So we gotta get that dialed in.
So for those who don't know, DC Pippin winning the kicking job, I don't think the average fan knows how many kickers you had in camp who were competing for that job. How many kickers did you have competing?
5. Yeah. I mean, hell, we were like, hey, you kick it? Come on. Come on. We'll take you. So, it's just like anything. You're just wanting good competition so you could just try to bring out the best in whoever you had. And he was in our program a year ago. First of all, he was a student here, all right, kicked in high school, did not come here to play football. Knocked on the door and said, hey, I want to kick for you. He showed up, and I was like, oh, my, who is this guy? And then he was immature and kind of did some dumb things, and I tried to run him off, and I couldn't. And that's why I was like, man, I hope he gets it, because he is mentally tough, because, I'm not the easiest guy to play for.
No.
So, and I was giving him the business, and he's done such a good job. And I think Coach Bonato, and I don't know if Kenny Doak is back here, and he kind of works with them a little bit.
So Kenny Doak has stuck around then.
Yeah, he was kicking in one of those professional leagues that folded, and so he's coming back and finishing his master's. He's a GA in the rec center, and he's kind of the
kicking whisperer.
Yeah, kind of talks to him and all that. So it's been a good work in progress with lots of people. Coach Bonato done a good job with him too.
Boy, how about that? So he's a walk-on then, Pippin?
Yep.
How about that? 45
amazing?
and 50 yards.
And he's paying us.
That's a good deal. You're a bargain basement shopper here.
Yeah, I got a lot of other guys that are stealing.
So the neat thing is, you can have this offense, which we see is dynamic. You have a deep defense, and you were healthier than you had kind of thought maybe you might be going into the game. Mm-hmm. You had 5 guys who may not have played in the game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But here, all of a sudden, you've got a guy that you have confidence to kick the football to where, I don't have confidence in my kicker. We're going for it from the 29-yard line on 4th and 3.
Sure. Absolutely. And that was the thing, we just wanted to see. That's why we tried all those and give those opportunities, and now we feel good. And, and that's what my message is to my team. Like, they have to understand, getting better is hard when you're okay. If you suck, you could get better tomorrow. But when you're okay and our offense is okay, it's actually extremely hard to get better. And the amount of energy and focus and reps it takes to actually get better is tough. And so that's where I'm going to challenge our mindset, because that's what worries me more than anything. Where are we as a team? Because how are we going to handle success? What's our mindset? You look at Nichols, where they're 0-2. And you start doing all the math, and oh my God, we are so good. Well, there it is. There it is. That's the crack in the dam, and that's how you get your butt beat. Because really, the only thing you did was put a target on your back. We're getting Nichols' best. We're getting Central Arc's best. Because if I'm Nichols' coach, hey, the season just started. We went and paid bills the first 2 games. We're 0-0 against FCS. We got a quality opponent on the road. We go turn our season around with a win. So we're going to get Nichols' best, and we got to make sure that we understand what's led up to this point has to stay. And that's that commitment to the process, and just how hard it really is to play well on Saturday. And you got to be excited about a Monday practice, not just a Saturday game.
And I think it's fair to say you subscribe to the same theory as the greatest college football coach of all time, and that is Nick Saban at Alabama with his 7 national championships, and he refers to it as rat poison. Fans, media telling you how great you are. He tells his players that is rat poison if you start to believe that stuff.
Yeah, it's just human nature, and that's the problem with social media. It's criticism and it's praise. Well, they're both the same. They both don't matter. Everybody talk about criticism is the same. None of it matters. And you just got to understand who you take input from, only those that you love and respect. Because that's how you get off target. And coaches are just as susceptible as our players and all that. And we just got to stay focused on continued improvement and make sure that we're doing the work to give us the best opportunity to play well on Saturday.
And, by the way, for the Nichols references, Nichols State, who plays in the Southland Conference, they are 0-2. Well, they played 2 money games, just like you played a money game against Iowa State. So They weren't expected to win their first 2 games. This is a team that finished 5th in the nation in rushing offense. They've got 2 all-conference running backs. They've got a transfer quarterback. This is a team with 5 consecutive winning seasons, and they have more all-conference players on the Southland All-Conference Team 10 than any other team in that conference. This is a good football team that's coming to Cape Saturday.
Yeah, and it's exciting, And that's the problem, is we don't know. You play SIU, well, the next year you have all those players that were there a year ago, so you have an idea of their talent level, you have an idea of scheme. Well, we literally don't know anything about Nichols. And so just trying to figure out who they are has been fun. It's been intriguing, and just looking forward to playing at home. I'm going to just make sure our players understand how important it is to play well at home. And we don't lose at home. There was a time where we had a streak and those type of things. I need to make sure our players understand that the standard here is we play well at home and we don't lose at home. And why that's so important is because right now everybody's wondering about investing in SEMO athletics, and we need to make sure they understand that we're worth investing in. And these are big dollars, but also just the influence and the interaction with the community and the region. Playing well at home is important, and you owe it to these other players, right, that knocked off SELA, that knocked off all these top 25 victories at home, to make sure that standard
Stony Brook
stays. and that it doesn't die with those classes, that we double down on how well we play at home and the energy it takes to play at home and all that stuff. So that's going to be one of my big messages this week.
And as far as your football team goes, Coach, you can't protect your quarterback as you have the first 2 weeks if the offensive line isn't doing the job. You've got veterans on that offensive line, 6 killers, the one new guy up there, but you've got guys with a ton of snaps under their belt. Talk about your offensive line the first couple of games.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job, and I think they're one of the reasons everybody wants to talk about our offense, and they're continuing to do well. I think the run game, we challenged them to handle a lot of the twists and the slants that SIU were given, and to be honest, we didn't do a great job with it. They played a light box and was able to minimize our run game, and we can't let that happen. If someone's going to just play a light box with the kind of talent we have, we should be able to go for 200 type games, and rushing. And so we got to clean that up, which I feel good about it, though. They're coached well. We got good players. They want to play well. We just got to keep going. We did have 2 stupid penalties, and one of our O-linemen got one of them. And so that was
Zach Gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you know why our relationship's so complicated. My wife got me, though. I was like, man, that freaking Zach Gig. She goes, he's just like you. I was like, what are you talking about? So I don't know. I guess that's why there's a lot of conflict. We're still working through our relationship. But he had a stupid penalty, and then Gino took his helmet off, which is a stupid penalty.
Now that was after the game-winning touchdown. It was a celebration penalty.
Yeah. And so could have cost us, though, right? Because a field goal gets it tied. And so now we're kicking from the 20, and so we just these lessons, we got to continue to learn those lessons, and we can't get it to a one-possession game because you're going to lose one of those. If you're in enough one-possession games, you're going to lose one. Like, we got to do a better job.
Let me ask you, honestly, when you're kicking off from the 20, there are just 11 seconds left in the football game. Did Murray State flash through your head, the return that Murray State, all you needed to do was make a tackle, and Murray State with the miracle in Murray. Now, you ended up going to the playoffs anyway, but did that flash through your head at all?
No, but why would you say that?
We talked about it at the time. No. I'm like, are you having a flashback to Murray State?
This has been one of the best shows, and you've run the whole thing.
So we asked you after the football game. It didn't happen that way, so you end up stopping them. But you did not get out of the Iowa State game healthy. A lot of times we ask you, how healthy did you get out of the game? How healthy did you get out of the SIU game?
Good. And so Mike Matthews went down with what we think is a concussion, but wasn't sure. He's symptom-free today, so I'm not sure what that'll look like. Austin Carter went down about the first quarter, but think he'll be back. So we didn't have anybody necessarily. We're still missing Trey, who's a really good player for us. So
starter.
Hopefully he'll be back this week. So and then obviously having Norman the whole game will help too.
Yeah, Bryce Norman did get 3 tackles in the second half, had a quarterback hurry when he came in after missing the first half. Now, you were concerned going into the SIU game. You had 2 guys with concussions, and they both passed protocol. That doesn't always happen leading up to a game on Saturday, but that was good news for you.
Yeah, for sure. And our training staff and our doctors have done a remarkable job because really we're out of it. And that's what I love about it. The protocol is there's a system, but not everybody recovers the same, right? We're all humans, we're all different. So some people recover different, but we have a way to make sure these kids aren't put in bad situations and playing when they shouldn't be playing. Like there's medical system in place to make sure these guys are good. But we had a bunch of MAs on defense and disappointed that way. Some of those guys didn't get to practice much, and so we gave them some stuff too and hurt us on third down. That's one thing defensively we got to get better at. But it's an overall symptom of, too many mental mistakes. And so we're not there yet on defense. And I thought it would take 3 games just with the new coaches and new players we have just to get in a good groove. And hopefully when we get done with Nichols, we're going to feel good about I don't care what the score is as long as we win, but I just care about how we played and the mental mistakes that we're making on defense right now.
You know, you missed several tackles in the Iowa State game. I thought you tackled better Saturday.
No doubt. I'm glad you brought that up. I thought we did. And they're really skilled. You know, so tackling some of those guys like 15 and 1 and all of them are great players. And so I thought we did a better job tackling.
That's the thing. Javon Williams, 15. He has led them in rushing 3 years in a row. He's the active career touchdown leader in all of FCS. No one has ever led SIU in rushing.
I think he's got
4
years.
Year. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. But he is a really, really good football player. And, boy, Avante Cox, man, you'll be glad not to see that guy.
Yep. You know, he went off for like 200 against us last year. You know, that's what I mean. Like, this was, you know, SIU was a good football team. They had some good players.
All right. We're going to talk with Ryan Flournoy coming up. But did you see what I saw? They just flat out couldn't cover him, and that's why you saw so many penalties. Flags on the ground because they just reached out and grabbed him a lot of times.
Yeah, it's that same thing. You panic, you know, catch a ball on you, and then you just reach and grab. You know, that's the problem.
We're going to talk with Ryan. Tell us about the recruiting of Ryan Flournoy.
Yeah, I mean he could tell it probably better than anybody, but he was a great player at a junior college. He's from Chicago. His junior college played in the national championship game. So and it's one of the heaviest recruited junior colleges there is. I mean, they come from a great program. And I think on signing day, it was a little question mark, right? So he at one point, he wasn't going to sign with us, and we're going to have to eat his face off. But you know, I think one of his coaches he trusted and finally ended up, you know, believing this was the right place for him. And, you know, the rest is history.
We'll talk with Ryan Flournoy when we come back from this timeout. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings in Jackson. This is SEMO ESPN.
The sports bar, wings, etc.
In Jackson, and this announcement now, if you're a Red Hawk fan, you're going to join us. We're going to be at the new Dexter Wings, etc. next week. So plan a little earlier, take a little time off, and join us in Dexter. It's about an hour drive from Cape, and it's going to be fun. Looking forward to seeing the new Wings Etc. location. And just like here in Jackson and in Cape, they've got the brand new burger menu there, and their wraps, their subs, quesadillas, entree salad, smoked ribs, and much, much more. They've got their daily lunch specials that start at just $9.49. They have food and drink specials throughout the entire week. You've got all of the flat screen TVs. You want to watch Monday Night Football, Russell Wilson's return to Seattle tonight. You can watch it right here on in Wings Etc. And as Albert Pujols goes for number 700, you can watch Cardinal baseball. No Cardinal baseball tonight. They'll start a series with Milwaukee tomorrow night. So it's all Wings Etc. Good food and great times. Let's talk it over with Red Hawks wide receiver Ryan Flournoy. What did you have on the menu for lunch today?
I had it was buffalo wings and garlic parmesan wings. It was pretty good.
So you doubled it up.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Now bone in or bone out?
Traditional bone in.
Bone in. See, now Lawrence Johnson was here 2 weeks ago, and he said bone in. We had Paxton DeLorean here. He went bone out.
That's something Paxton would do.
What's it like playing with him? Here's a guy that is a first-year player just like you are, and you were voted a captain before you even played a football game, and you've got to have, as a wide receiver, you got to have confidence and trust in your quarterback. Tell us a little bit about you and Paxton DeLorean.
Paxton is a smart player. Like, he will make a play. So even if it's not there, he'll make something there. So I feel like Paxton will make everything happen. Like, he's the center of the offense, really. So me and him have a connection. Like, one play I was supposed to run a hitch, but I ran a hitch and go. And he just threw it, and it worked. So me and him just got a connection.
So even though you ran the wrong route, he still saw, okay, here we go, I'm getting it to Ryan.
Yeah.
That's got to make you feel good.
He's just out there playing football.
So you both are in the first year. How many reps does it take to develop chemistry with a quarterback?
A lot. It's off season. We was out on the field every single day. We both led the quarterbacks and the receivers to go out there together, and we just practice on our timing and everything.
So you are from Hazel Crest, Illinois. There are no high schools in Hazel Crest. You went to Homewood Flossmoor, right?
Yes, sir.
So that, Hazel Crest, anybody that doesn't know, it's a suburb of Chicago.
Yep.
So tell us about growing up that close to Chicago.
Growing up, it's really basically Chicago, in and out. I got a lot of family on east side of Chicago, the west side, east side, south side. But growing up in Hazel Crest it's pretty fun. It's home, so it was like overcoming a lot of stuff and adversity as a young kid, but it really makes you as a grown man.
Well, it's almost the same size as Jackson. It's about 13,000 in Hazel Crest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, similar to the size of Jackson. Now, did you play any other sports growing up?
I played everything. I wrestled, I played basketball, I played baseball, played volleyball in 7th and 8th grade.
Who's the best volleyball player on the team?
On that team?
On SEMO's team?
I'm not really familiar with the team, but
Okay,
I've been to a couple games, though.
No, I'm talking about as far as football players, who's the best volleyball player?
Me.
Okay, that's what that's what we're getting at. So if you grew up playing baseball, Chicago, Cubs fan, Sox fan?
Sox fan.
All right. Hate to hear that, being a Cubs fan, but Bears fan?
Bears fan, yes,
All
sir.
right. What'd you think yesterday? Playing in a monsoon, it never stopped raining.
Yeah, I was
yesterday.
happy we got the dub.
What do you think of Justin Fields?
He's a great player. He's a great player. I feel like he's smart also. Like, he's young. This is his second year, but I feel like he got a lot of room to grow.
I'm a little older than you, and I grew up in Macomb, Illinois, and I grew up a Bears fan, so I got to see the '85 Bears and them smoke the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. I do have to ask you, Homewood I know is the home of Aurelio's Pizza.
Yeah.
Greatest pizza of all time. Have you ever eaten Aurelio's Pizza?
Eat it all the time.
Is it the greatest pizza of
I
all
love
time?
Aurelio's.
There we go. My wife, Dawn Shawn, is here, and I introduced her to Aurelio's Pizza. So we used to have a quarterback here named Daniel Santa Catarina. He was from Homewood, and he loved Aurelio's Pizza. So you got that in common. So Iowa Western Community College, that's a really good JUCO program. Tell us about all the success that you had at Iowa Western.
I walked on to Iowa Western, and I tore my ACL first practice.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got surgery March 22nd, 2021, and I got cleared August 10th, 2021. So it was like 4.5 months, and it was just working every single day on getting it stronger, trying to jump on it, trying to sprint on it. It was hard, but made it happen. And then
4.5 months. What did the doctors say about that? That's almost unbelievable.
He didn't think I was human. But yeah, he congratulated me. We went undefeated and went to the national championship, where I had 2 touchdowns and 170 yards, but we lost. So,
who'd you lose to?
New Mexico Military.
Wow! But you played in a big game. What was that like?
It was fun. It was on CBS Sports. It was, eye opening. The whole Natty experience was just fun. I want to get Natty here, so that's what we're striving.
So, when did you find out that you were on ESPN yesterday with the You Got Mossed segment? How did you find out?
So I was just laying in bed, and I got this notification. And it was like, bro, You Got Mossed, and sent the video. And I just started laughing and smiling. It was crazy.
Tell us about that play, because we talked about it a lot after it happened during the Iowa State game. But, I mean, it was just a Paxton DeLaurent jump ball. We asked him about it last week. And you out-jumped 2 Big 12 cornerbacks off one of the best defenses in the country, Iowa State, and came down with the football.
Yeah, it was a normal catch. I really do them catches all the time. You can ask anybody. You can ask Coach too. He probably seen me make some crazy catches. But I seen a ball in the air. I just knew I had to go get it over them. So just made the decision to catch it.
So has there been talk in practice about putting in plays where they throw you a jump ball or they throw you a fade, knowing that you've got the ability most likely to out-jump most corners you're gonna be up against?
Yeah, I get jump balls a lot in practice, and I come down with them, so I feel like they're comfortable throwing it to me in the game.
Now, every athlete knows their vertical leap. What's your vertical leap?
In this winter, I jumped to 38.5.
38.5.
Yes, sir.
You think anybody on the football roster has a 38.5?
No.
How about Johnny King? If with all of this talent at wide receiver, it's really tough for a defense to commit and double team somebody when you've got guys like Johnny King and DeMaurier Vick.
Yeah, Johnny and Vic, I'm very comfortable with them on the field with me. Like, I have trust. Like, if Paxton throws to the other side, I have trust that Johnny's going to make the play. I have trust that Vic is going to make the play. So I love playing with them. They're like my brothers. I tell them all the time, we got to go all the way with it.
How much does Coach Took drill down when it is your assignment or a wide receiver's assignment to block? I know you'd much rather be making plays, but blocking is so critical.
Yeah, I feel like Coach Drew gets on us about blocking all the time, and I feel like we're really good at blocking, and we want to see. So when we do perimeters and bubbles and stuff, we want to see the other receiver succeed, so we're going to make that block for him.
All right, I got to ask you about that last play, because that's all the SIU fans were talking about after the game. It was a pass interference on you in the end zone. The ball fell. I didn't see the flag originally, and I was saying, the game is over. What a finish we had. And then my partner Rick saw the flag, and then we got to see the replay. But it was a short replay. We didn't get to see your entire route. Take us through that final play, and why did they throw a flag, and was it a penalty?
Okay, so I had a fake comeback and go. So
because you had already ran one to the pylon for a touchdown.
Yes, sir. So we know he would bite on it. So he bit, and when I come out my break, he grabbed and prevented me from getting the ball. But I didn't see the flag either. I thought the game was over. So I was down to my knees, and I turned around and seen the flag, and just thank God.
But he grabbed you
Yeah, he
on
did.
your cut because he bit on the double move.
Yes, sir.
Which is the reason they called the double move, right? Mm-hmm. How about the game that Jeremy McDowell called on Saturday? He was sitting right next to us up in the press box. Boy, I thought he had a really good game.
Yes, I have a lot of respect for Coach McDowell. He's a great OC.
Did he ever tell you he played quarterback here?
He didn't tell me that.
He was a quarterback here at Southeast Missouri State. All right, you've got Nicholls State coming in here this weekend, and that's a really good team from the Southland Conference. 5 straight winning seasons. They've got 2 all-conference running backs. One guy is closing in on their all-time school rushing and touchdown record. This is a quality football team, and your first chance to play at Houck Stadium.
Yes, sir. We're ready. The team is really ready for whatever. I got trust in them. They got trust in everybody. Like, special teams, we're going to dominate. Defense going to dominate. Offense definitely is going to dominate.
Boy, you've got a real weapon back at the running back position, Geno Hess. What makes Geno so good? I mean, if you just look at him, he's not that tall. He's obviously strong, but, man, here's a guy that gets better as the game goes on, man. He punishes guys in the fourth quarter when they start to get tired.
Geno, his legs are so thick, so it's hard to tackle him. And that's the most confident person I ever met. Like, Geno is confident. He's going to – yeah, I could do that. I could do this. Yeah, he gonna do it.
Give us a good Took story, a Coach Took story.
Coach Took story. I actually spent one of these holidays at his crib. What was it? Easter. It was fun. I got to meet his family, his wife and his 2 daughters, and it was good. We played questions and we went around asking a lot of questions, and Coach Took had good questions and good answers.
So he celebrates Easter. Any Easter egg hunt?
No, we didn't. We just ate food.
No Easter egg fun. All right, we've got one final segment here with Coach Took. Can't wait to see how everything goes on Saturday and the rest of the season. Are you having fun? Because are you glad you chose the Red Hawks? Because Coach Took said it was touch and go there at the end.
Yes, I love SEMO, and I'm glad I made the decision.
Well, we're excited to watch you play. Are you on social media? Can we check you out on social media?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is Ryan9. That was my number in high school, and the name just stuck. So, and my Instagram handle is Ryan9 also.
Number, spell it out.
Numba, and then 9.
Number 9.
Yeah, number
okay,
9.
Ryan number 9.
Yeah.
All right. We'll check it out. Ryan, thanks so much.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate it. Stay healthy.
Yes, sir.
All right. That is Ryan Flournoy. Coach Took joins us for a final segment here on the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Jackson. Redhawks Coaches Show. SEMO at 2 o'clock on Saturday will play their home opener against the Nichols State Colonels from the Southland Conference. Coach Tuke rejoins us. The Redhawks coach have received, according to Jeff Hansa, 40 votes in the FCS media poll this week. SIU has dropped out after you took the wheel back to Cape Girardeau. They have been kicked out of the top 25, but you've received 40 votes. People are starting to take notice about what you did on Saturday.
Like I said, made our target bigger. So, what's our mindset as a football team? We got to play well at home. We have before, and this is going to be a fun challenge. And it's going to be hot, and it'll be the hottest game we played. In fact, it'll be hotter than Iowa State. And so we got to make sure we prepare all week long on all the little things.
And this is not a, tell me if you think this is the most talented offense you've had in your 9 seasons, but can you say for somebody who is debating on whether or not they're going to buy a ticket, it's an exciting team. We've seen that in 2 games. It's a fun offense to watch. But just from what you've seen, you see every day in practice, what you saw on Saturday with, impact wide receivers, a guy in Geno Hess is probably going to break the all-time school rushing and touchdown record, veteran offensive line, savvy quarterback. Is this among the most talented offenses you have had since you have been here?
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. The scheme matches the skill sets, and so, we can do whatever we need to do to have success, and we have balance. We could, throw it and run it. We got those good players, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And you got some NFL guys, but you also got some, some 6-year seniors, O-linemen, and guys like that just play so hard. And so they're a lot of fun to watch. I think the team's fun to watch.
So, in other words, what you're saying, you have more options than on some of the teams that you've had in the past.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jeremy McDowell, I really like the game that he called on Saturday. Talk a little bit about your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's done a great job, and our recruiting was well. I mean, you think about Ryan and Vic and Paxton, right? Am I missing anybody? All 3 of them were not here this time last year. And so our recruiting was a really, really good class, along with a lot of these freshmen that we signed. So great job, and Jeremy did a really nice job, and where it's not just about scheme, it's still players first,
Sure.
right? Like if we get down the red zone and Ryan doesn't touch the ball or Johnny doesn't touch the ball, then that's not about scheme, that's about players, and he's doing a good job making sure our best players get the football.
And you've got a new but not so new defensive coordinator. I know that was a lot on your plate last year because it was a tricky situation. You were forced to be the defensive coordinator last year, but Ricky Kuhn has returned to SEMO, a guy that cut his teeth working for you before leaving and now coming back.
Yeah. And like I said before, we have 6 new coaches. I mean, there's just this, might take us a little bit to hit stride here, but we're getting closer. And the thing that I always want to see is I just want to see progress. Like that, to me, tells you we're on track, and we are. We're not playing well enough, but we're getting closer.
We don't seed 8,500 to 9,000 these days. Hopefully next year that's going to change. But, boy, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be a sellout on Saturday. It might be hot, but the weather's going to be good, and this is a fun, exciting team coming off a win over a nationally ranked program.
Absolutely. And I know there'll be challenges with the stadium and the construction and all that, and there's pain in all progress. I mean, that's just the way it is, and don't let that ruin your experience. Show up, support your football team, enjoy Division I football in this region, and some of these players are going to be playing on Saturday, and some of these players, if you got to know them, they're some of the finest human beings that I've ever coached.
And recently, we haven't had too many 2-game homestands. We're home for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be fun.
Okay, 2 o'clock, Nichols State out of the Southland Conference. hopefully we've got a big crowd there at Hawk Stadium. Coach, we'll see you over there. Thanks
Sounds
so much
good.
for your time.
Thanks.
That is the Red Hawks head coach, Tom Matukowicz. Thanks to Ryan Flournoy, Rachel Cook, Mike Rennick on site. Thanks so much for their help. We'll get you right back into ESPN programming. And don't forget, we'll be in Dexter next week. The Red Hawks Coaches Show on the road at the new Wings Etc. location in Dexter. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings Etc.